Maybe you've already forced yourself to go somewhere and regretted it. You accept an invitation without enthusiasm because it's the right thing to do. You get there, force conversations, laugh at jokes you didn't find funny, and return home exhausted, thinking, why did I do this to myself? On the outside, you seemed sociable and likable, but inside you know you lost precious energy. And it's not because you're boring or because there's something wrong with you. It's because you have different needs than most people. If you've lived through this content will free you from a lot of unnecessary guilt, because I'll show you what philosophers like Schopenhauer already knew. Knowing how to say no is an art. The world teaches you that being sociable is a virtue, that whoever stays home is antisocial, lazy, or worse, is missing opportunities. But Niccolo Machiavelli discovered over 500 years ago, while studying real power, those who don't depend on others' approval possess a type of power that no one can take away. When Machiavelli wrote The Prince in 1513, he was revealing a fundamental law of human nature. People who constantly need validation from others become predictable, and predictable people can be controlled, manipulated, used. But those who find satisfaction in their own company are immune to most social traps. Every time you force yourself to go out when you'd rather stay in, you're giving away part of your power. You're signaling that your own needs aren't enough, that you need others' energy to feel complete. And this is exactly what manipulative people look for, someone who can't say no. Preferring to be alone isn't a personality flaw. It's a sign of a psychological structure that doesn't easily bend to external pressures. And while the world makes you feel guilty about this, true philosophy shows the opposite. But before understanding why this is power, you need to recognize the real price you're paying every time you ignore your own limits. People with emotional autonomy are rarely manipulated because they don't need to please others to exist. You accept invitations without enthusiasm because you can't disappoint them. They'll think you're boring. It's just once. 2 hours later, you're smiling forcedly, spending energy you didn't have, participating in conversations that don't interest you. You return home more tired than when you left, with that strange feeling of having betrayed yourself. Jung would call this a violation of your own psychic energy. Every time you force yourself to be sociable when you don't want to, 3 things happen. You exhaust your energy reserves for important decisions, you train your brain to distrust your own instincts, and you signal to the world that you're available to be used. Most people lose years in this trap. They think being constantly tired is normal, that not having their own energy is part of adult life. They don't realize they're systematically betraying their most basic needs. The real cost: you stop knowing what you really want because you spent so much time pretending to want what others want. People with real power know that energy is the most valuable resource they possess, and they don't waste it trying to be nice. As Jung documents in Psychological Types, there's a brutal difference between extracting energy from social interaction versus spending energy to maintain social interaction. When you don't understand which type you are, you waste years trying to be someone you're not. But 3 philosophers discovered the antidote to this trap. Those who don't need others cannot be controlled by others. May 1512. Machiavelli loses everything: fired, tortured, exiled. At 43, isolated on a rural property, most would do anything to return to power's good graces. Machiavelli did the opposite. He retreated to his library, and in the following years of solitude produced his most important works. Distance gave him total clarity about how power really works. Switzerland, 1921. Jung discovers that some people are energized by social interaction, others are exhausted by it. It's not shyness, it's nervous system configuration. The introvert generates satisfaction internally, needs quietness to process information, accesses layers of the psyche inaccessible during social noise. Frankfurt, 1851. Schopenhauer at 63 lives alone. He walks daily with his poodle Atma, doesn't seek company. To external observers, a lonely man, in reality one of the freest men who ever lived. He discovered that solitude by choice is power. Solitude by rejection is prison. All 3 reach the same conclusion. Most people live fleeing from themselves. They seek company not because they like others, but because they can't stand being alone with their own thoughts. This flight makes them vulnerable to emotional exploitation. Those who genuinely don't need others' presence possess real freedom. They can't be emotionally blackmailed. They don't tolerate disrespect out of fear of being alone. They can establish boundaries without guilt. As Schopenhauer wrote in Aphorisms on the Wisdom of Life, solitude is the lot of all superior spirits. More complex spirits need more silence to organize themselves. When they organize properly, they become unshakable. Now you need to know how to apply this in practice. Emotional independence is built through 3 pillars applied systematically. First pillar, selective isolation, consciously choosing where to invest social energy. Most people waste 80% of their energy on 20% of the most irrelevant people in their lives. You're going to reverse this proportion. Application. Before accepting any social commitment, ask 3 questions. First, does this person offer me something I genuinely value? Second, can I contribute authentically or will I fake interest? Third, will I leave energized or exhausted? If 2 answers are negative, decline. No long explanations. No justifications. A simple thanks but I can't make it works. Those who really care will understand. Those who don't understand are proving why they should be avoided. Result, in 2 weeks your social calendar decreases drastically, but satisfaction with the relationships that remain increases exponentially. Less quantity, more quality. Second pillar, non-negotiable recharging ritual. 1 hour per day without phone, music, conversations, or external stimuli. It can be during a walk, bath, or simply sitting observing your breathing. Non-negotiable even if the world is on fire. During this period, your mind processes the day's information, reorganizes priorities, accesses insights that only appear in silence. It's like defragmenting your brain's hard drive. Result, after a week you make decisions more quickly, get less irritated by nonsense, have clearer ideas about what you really want. Tolerance for drama decreases, focus capacity increases. Third pillar, strengthening conscious solitude, developing the ability to extract genuine satisfaction from your own company. Most people are only alone when they have no choice. You're going to learn to choose solitude because it's better than mediocre company. Application. Identify 3 activities you genuinely enjoy doing alone. Hobbies, personal projects, studies, exercise, anything that gives satisfaction without needing an audience. Reserve weekly time for each one. Result, in a month, you stop checking your phone compulsively, stop seeking validation on social media, and mainly, stop tolerating people who drain your energy. Not out of arrogance, but intelligent self-preservation. But I know exactly what's going through your head right now. What if I miss important opportunities? What if people stop inviting me? What if I become truly isolated? Each of the 3 philosophers faced these doubts. The difference is they discovered the cost of pretending to be who you're not always exceeds the benefit of being accepted. Machiavelli spent his last 15 years practically excluded from Florentine politics. Few rulers wanted to associate with him after the prince. He died relatively poor and politically irrelevant. 5 centuries later, who remembers the politicians who rejected him? And how many people still apply Machiavelli's strategies daily? Jung broke with Freud in 1913 and lost access to the psychoanalytic community. He spent 6 years as an academic pariah. It was during this period that he developed theories about psychological types that are now the basis of modern psychology. Schopenhauer was considered eccentric by neighbors, rude by acquaintances, a misanthrope by other philosophers. His response, I prefer being misunderstood while authentic than praised while false. First objection, won't I lose important relationships? If you apply the 3 pillars correctly, the opposite happens. Superficial relationships disappear, but true ones deepen. When you stop wasting energy on those who don't value you, more energy remains for those who really matter. Second objection, won't I lose professional opportunities? Jung proved the contrary. When he stopped trying to please the Freudian community, he developed much more original and influential work. Intellectual independence generates more opportunities, not fewer. Third objection, won't they think I'm arrogant? Some people will, especially those who depend on your constant availability. But truly confident people respect clear boundaries. If someone is offended because you prioritized your well-being, that person is revealing more about themselves. The only real risk is discovering that you like your own company so much that your tolerance for mediocre company decreases dramatically. Compare this risk with the alternative, spending your life pretending to be sociable when you're not, wasting energy on people who don't value you, accepting crumbs of attention out of fear of being alone. Now you need to choose which identity you'll assume. Those who choose solitude consciously don't become lonely, they become sovereign. Transformation isn't a gradual process, it's an instant decision followed by consistent action. Now you decide, continue tolerating anything out of fear of being alone, or carefully choose where you invest social energy. Change begins with a simple decision. My energy is my most precious asset. and I won't waste it anymore on those who don't value it. This isn't selfishness, it's emotional intelligence. It's not coldness, it's self-preservation. Your first test will come within 48 hours. Someone will invite you to something you don't want to do. Your automatic reaction will be to accept out of politeness. This time you'll pause, remember the 3 pillars, and say no without guilt. No long explanations, no apologies. The person might be surprised, even offended. It's normal, you spent years signaling that you were always available. Now you're establishing boundaries. Those who really care will adjust. Those who don't adjust were using you, not valuing you. In the next 30 days, apply the 3 pillars systematically. Selective isolation with every invitation. Daily recharging ritual. Strengthening solitude through activities that genuinely satisfy you. You'll discover you have much more energy than you imagined. That your thoughts become clearer when they're not constantly interrupted by social requests. That your concentration capacity increases when you stop checking if you're pleasing everyone. As Machiavelli wrote during his exile, "At night I return home and enter my study. On the threshold I strip off my everyday clothes, covered with mud and dirt, and don royal garments." He transformed forced isolation into a personal kingdom. You're doing the same thing, but by choice. Creating a place where you can be completely authentic, without masks, without performances, without the exhaustion of pretending to be who you're not. And from this place, you relate to the world from a position of strength, not need. When someone asks why you prefer staying home, don't justify yourself. When they question why you're no longer so available, explain that you're prioritizing your well-being. When they say you've changed, smile and confirm, "I have changed and it was for the better." Now you've seen a bit of what makes this philosophy so impactful. Click on the video on screen. You'll discover the secrets Nietzsche hid about how to develop inner strength that no one can break. Click now on the video on screen.